Aloha Stadium in Hawaii manages to be both dumpy and a little charming as well. And it's probably not going to be around for much longer. The body that operates the facility has stopped accepting any new events because it's hemorrhaging money, and it may also be condemned. Aloha Stadium has seen its fair share of highlights throughout the years and quite a few lowlights as well. Here are 5 things you may not remember about Aloha Stadium. The people that designed Aloha Stadium were idiots. They opted to use this weathering steel that rusts until a protective patina is created. It would give it a sort of charming rustic look. At least that's what normally happens with the steel. In areas where there's lots of ocean salt in the air, say a place like Hawaii, the steel just keeps on rusting and rusting and rusting. And that brings us to 2021. These days, Aloha Stadium is more rust than stadium. In order for it to be deemed safe to operate again, it would need hundreds of millions of dollars in repairs. And in fact, a group of consultants found it would actually be cheaper just to simply build a new stadium than to renovate and restore Aloha Stadium. So I know I just said the designers were idiots, but they were also geniuses. If you look at the time when Aloha Stadium was built in the 70s, multi-purpose stadiums were all the rage, and you got a bunch of venues that looked very similar. However, what makes Aloha Stadium unique is its pivoting stands that allow for seats to look good when it's set up for both football and baseball. You can think of the randomly tarped off right field seats in the Metrodome or the wonky corners at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh of examples of what happens to poorly designed multi-purpose stadiums. For Aloha Stadium, in the football configuration, there are 4 stands that run along the sideline so it looks like an oval. However, for baseball games, those stands along the sideline can be split and pivoted, allowing for seats to be situated along the foul line and outfield wall, basically meaning the stadium goes from an oval shape to a diamond, which is pretty ingenious. Hawaii football in the 2000s got 8 years of some of the best quarterback play in the sport's history. The Rainbow Warriors set all kinds of passing records under June Jones and had quite a few exciting teams. It started in 2000 when Timmy Chang showed up to campus. He would spend 5 years with Hawaii and finished with 118 career passing touchdowns, which was the second most ever by a quarterback when he graduated. Now, of course, that's been passed a whole bunch of times, but it's still impressive in 2005. However, the guy who replaced him was even better. Colt Brennan took over from Chang in 2006 and actually broke the all-time career passing touchdown record with 137. Even more remarkable was the fact that he only needed 3 seasons to do that. Now, of course, Graham Harrell came along and broke the record the next year, but that's not the point. All things considered, you have to look at this 8-year stretch of quarterback play at Hawaii, and in particular at Aloha Stadium, and just tip your hat to how good it was. In 1997, Major League Baseball went to Hawaii to host a brief regular season series between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres. Dubbed the Paradise Series, the highlight of these games is probably a 38-year-old Ricky Henderson running into a wall trying to catch a ball hit by Ron Gant. The end result of the play was the only inside the park home run hit during a regular season game in Hawaii. As for Ricky Henderson, he stayed in the game, had a couple of hits, and played for like 90 million more years after that. Michael Jackson didn't do a lot of tours, but when he did go out, it almost never featured any stops in America. In fact, during his 2 tours in the 1990s, neither featured any concerts in the continental US. His only US concert during the 1990s was at You guessed it, Aloha Stadium, when he performed 2 shows there in 1997 as part of the His Story World Tour. That does it for our look at Aloha Stadium. We'll certainly miss it, although most people probably won't recall it with such fond memories. For the Touchback, I'm Cheyenne Hollis, and as always, take it out to the 25.